Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Code. Drip.
Snort, snort.
I got the drip.
Our first news story is a follow-up to yesterday's story about the Lord of the Rings Gollum releasing as a broken, horrible mess. Everyone says the game is crap. It looks like crap. It plays like crap. It's full of bugs. It's full of crashes. The platforming is incredibly wonky. The gameplay is misrepresentative of how they advertised the game, where they said it was going to be this epic stealth game with all these dialogue choices, and in reality, it's just a mess. It's a broken piece of garbage. It's $50 or $60, but then they even have microtransactions in it that apparently add dialogue to the game. I'm serious. Like, apparently Gollum never says "my precious" unless you buy a microtransaction. That adds it to the game. I wish I was making that up, but I found that out this morning. So, this morning, the game developers released an apology. Yes, it's official. The game developers released an apology stating they're sorry the game doesn't live up to expectations and they will do their best to improve it. And it's hilarious now, because this is what? The fourth or fifth major apology we got from a game dev this year. We just had one with Redfall. We just had one with Resident Evil 4 Remake that released on PC and ran like shit. It seems like every game that releases now, they already pre-wrote an apology for the game, knowing that it's going to suck. And I guess the question here is, is this the future of game development, right? Is it? Is this just what we're going to see? Every single game releases, and it runs like shit, and it's broken, and it's unacceptable that games are released in that state, but we're forced to pay the full price, be the game testers, and then these game developers will slowly release patches after the fact. And the question really is, what enabled this? Because it didn't used to be like that, right? What enabled this culture of release a game broken, obviously unfinished, and then fix it after the fact? How do we get to this point? There were no live game patches back in the day. Whatever game was on the disc is what you got, and that's what you played. So if it was a broken mess, people rated your game poorly, and that was the end of it. Today, it seems like what happens is, because you have some of these games where there's these Cinderella stories, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, Rainbow Six Siege. That game, when it released, was a piece of dog shit. And then after about a year, they completely revamped it, fixed it, and now it's better. Final Fantasy 14. Here's an MMO that released like dog shit. Everyone hated it. Then they had The Realm Reborn, and all of a sudden everyone loved it, and it's a Cinderella story of success. What about No Man's Sky? A game that completely overpromised and underdelivered, but over the course of like 4 or 5 years, Sean Murray delivers the game he promised. And it's, again, these stories, okay, are the exception to the rule. These are not the rule. These are the rarities, the situations where a game sucked ass, and somehow they managed to monstrously improve that game over the years to become a hit. But the problem is, it seems like every game dev is now riding on those coattails, saying we can just rush release a game out there, and if it's good, great, and if it's not, we don't care, we'll fix it later. That's an insanely bad attitude to have. And I hate to say it, it's very, very counterproductive in the games industry and to the consumer, right? It really is. Like, I'm sorry, but why do we want to see a game released unfinished, broken, and then you fix it later when we paid for it now? I've made this analogy before. Do you go to the car dealer, buy a new car, drive it off the lot, and it falls apart in the middle of the street right outside the lot, and they say, oh, we're sorry about that. In about 3 weeks, we'll ship you all the parts, and you'll have a complete car that you can use. If you go to the restaurant and you order a delicious chicken parmesan, right? Do they put the meal down and all you have is half of a chicken breast with ketchup instead of tomato sauce and like a slab of American cheese melted on it, and they say, we're sorry, this is not representative of what the final product will be. If you wait about a month and come back, we'll actually give you the chicken parmesan that you ordered and paid for today. Right? No, none of that happens. But in the games industry, for some odd reason, we accept this. As consumers, we pay full price up front, and then we accept the fact that we get a bad, broken product, and we like, oh, as long as they fix it in the long term. Why do we accept that? Right? Why? Why don't we put our foot down and demand the product today that we paid for. I just don't understand this mentality. But what you're doing by allowing these game developers to do this is you're enabling bad behavior. You know what I mean? Now, the thing is, the consumer should not be punished or blamed because we didn't do this. It's the games industry culture. And in reality, you might say, well, it's the game developers' fault. I actually don't believe that. It's the managers, it's the publishers, it's those people in charge running the projects who are having these issues. If you're in charge of a major game and you greenlight its release and the game is a buggy mess at launch, you shouldn't be in charge of a game. You should be unemployed because you're not a leader. You're an idiot. And all you care about is the bottom line and making that money on sales day rather than actually putting out a good product for the consumer. And you shouldn't be in any position of power. You understand? But these people are all like this now. Like, how many games this year? Let's be honest. Literally, let's think. Callisto Protocol ran like shit. Dead Space ran like shit. Resident Evil 4 Remake ran like shit. Star Wars ran like shit. Gollum, Redfall. I mean, this is just off the top of my head. I'm not even trying. And these are the games in the last 6 months that all run like shit. And we're all still buying. Right? Like, what the frick? And you know, another thing is that sometimes we kind of just give them a pass. Like, for example, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Everyone collectively agrees those games run like shit and shouldn't be in that state, but it's the best-selling Pokemon game of all time. Did you hear what I just said? Ladies and gentlemen, I clicked the wrong thing. The best-selling Pokemon game of all time is one of the worst running. So what does that set as a precedent for these game developers? Do you really think they're actually going to work and put effort into pumping this out better? No, you just padded their pockets, you know? So, yeesh. This is a bad state this industry is in, because it didn't used to be like this. But ever since all these patches are now digital and come after the fact, it's enabling the bad behavior. And that's not good, you know? What do? Well, honestly, you want to know what we do? Here's what people need to start doing. Stop buying games on release day. Okay? Seriously. We got to stop buying games on release day. Alright? Because this is what's causing the problems. Alright? When you rush and buy a game on release day before those reviews come out and before you see anyone play it, you don't know what you're getting. But as soon as, you know, that information is out there, you know, don't reward the bad behavior of a company that rushed out a game that's a piece of dog shit. Right? Seriously. And I just hate to say it, like, people buy so much into hype. Day one release day hype. They want to be a part of the experience, right? That's really what it is. There's this cultural mentality that when it's a new release day, you want to be part of that release day experience. You want to feel welcomed and part of a movement, part of a community, part of a viral thing on the internet. And it has you feel like you have an identity and you belong somewhere, right? I get that. I totally get that. I've been bought up into that as well. But being a 15-year YouTuber, it's diminished down to the point now where I really don't give a shit if I play a game on release day or not. Because half the time these games are so bad that it's just a laughable joke to be playing them on release day. And you might say, well, Phil, this is hypocritical. Don't you play all these games on release day? Well, yeah, but it's my job. That's the difference. I'm not a common consumer who's picking and choosing and saying, oh, I can only buy one game in a 3-month span. I'm going to rush out and buy this game on release day because I'm into the hype of the game. That's not me. This is my job to play these games and to cover them. And if they suck, to show you how bad they suck, right? A ton of people have outright said to me, Phil, thank you for playing Star Wars because when you showed us Jedi Survivor and how bad it runs, I didn't buy the game. I said I was going to get it. But once I saw how bad it was on release day for you, I laid back and I didn't play it. Good. And if I can do a public service to you guys by playing these games on release and showing you how bad they are, that's my job. You understand? But I'm the exception to the rule because that's my job to do this. You guys should not be out there wasting your money on dog shit. When you waste your money on dog shit, you enable more dog shit to be made. And when I see games like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet becoming the best selling of all time, when it's obviously one of the most poorly optimized and running, that's sad. That means there's a huge problem. You understand? Man, it sucks. This whole thing is a slippery slope, you know? And Gollum game developers coming out and apologize, they might as well not. Like, do you think anyone cares? The game's a mess. No one's going to buy it now. You fucked yourself, right? So, Don't even bother apologizing. Just close the fucking, close the doors, fire the management, start over. You know what I'm saying? It sucks. I'm tired of seeing this shit. And now, here's the thing. June. Street Fighter 6, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16. The big three. There's going to be more games in June, but those are the big three. So help me God. These games better run well, and these games better be good, man. If these games fucking come out and they are buggy messes and pieces of dog shit, dude, that would be 6 straight months of games releasing broken. 6. That would be atrocious. So I seriously hope that these games end up releasing well.
Go. I got the drip. 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 Go. I got the drip.
It's like a faucet that's dripping. You can't make it stop. So what do you want me to do? Have a mute button that every second I'm tapping the mute button just in case I'm gonna have to clear? Like, this is what I mean. These dumb kids. This is what it is. It's dumb kids.